NBC's Dasha Burns is in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where Donald Trump will hold a rally later tonight. Michael Hardaway has worked for both House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries and Illinois Senator Dick Durbin. Lonnie Chen served in the George W. Bush administration and was policy advisor to Mitt Romney's presidential campaign. Good to see both of you, all three of you. Dasha, tell us about this event and about Trump's political strategy to reach out to black voters.
Well, look, he had been very bullish on his ability to not necessarily win the majority of black voters. That's, of course, very unlikely. But he felt he could chip away at that Democratic base. They had a pretty robust and still do have a pretty robust strategy to reach out to those voters. You've seen him going to places that Republican candidates typically don't go, places like the Bronx. He had that event in Chick-fil-A. He's been going to places like Philadelphia, urban areas, making connections with rappers, with black churches, making inroads with communities where he felt that he could, make ties to influencers that could bring people into the fold. That dynamic, of course, has changed now that Biden is no longer at the top of the ticket. Harris at the top of the ticket is a different story. It's a different game. You can see them now trying to figure out a new strategy for a new opponent, and the Harris campaign really leaning into new states. She was in battleground Georgia, a place that the Biden campaign had all but written off. So this is a new dynamic. The Trump team's still bullish on their ability with minorities, but they know that this is going to be a different challenge now, Chris.
Thanks so much, Dasha. Well, Michael, there's this new AP poll out that we saw a little bit of. It shows about 7 in 10 black adults and about half of Hispanic adults would be satisfied with Harris as the Democratic nominee. That's a marked increase from earlier in July with Joe Biden. And, Trump had been working to peel off some of those voters. He seemed to be making some inroads, for example, with young black men. So it is a different game, but it isn't necessarily a predictable one. And how important is what he's doing today?
So this is the main issue with Donald Trump, and the reason he'll never, ever get a significant number of black people to support him, which is he'll come to an event like this, he'll spew a litany of lies and mistruths, he'll completely ignore his history of discrimination against black people, of disrespect toward black journalists, and certainly the dean of the political spectrum for black journalists in April Ryan. And so it won't be effective because he doesn't truly understand that black voters are educated and informed and make decisions based on policy, not on style. He assumes that just appearing here or bringing black voices out or faces out on his behalf will get black support. And that's not the way it works. We vote on substance, and we know that his substance is bad for our beliefs in our community. And that's why he'll never, ever get black support in an overwhelming way.
Lonnie, here's how people argue the other side from what we just heard Michael say, which a lot of Democrats will argue to you. And that is, for example, look at the think tank, Black Futures Lab. It shows fixing the economy and reducing violence in their communities are the top issues with black voters. We know that Republicans have had some success using that against Democrats, using that against Joe Biden. And when we've done panel discussions with young black men, those economic issues keep coming up again and again and again. Does Kamala Harris necessarily change that, or does she need to speak to that very clearly and very forcefully?
Well, I think it's important for the vice president to speak to those issues because, by the way, those are issues that don't just concern African-American voters. They concern voters across the spectrum, regardless of your racial or ethnic background. And I think for voters, those are going to be the two most dispositive issues in this campaign. We've been through a really momentous time in terms of news over the last couple of weeks. We've seen a ton of developments in this presidential race. But if you look at the polling, what is striking to me, at least, Chris, is the degree to which voters are still focused fundamentally on those key issues, the issues of the state of the economy, cost of living issues, and beyond that, also immigration, you've noted as well. So I think the question will be, to what degree does Trump take the imagery and what he says today and try to amplify it beyond just this event and just this community?
And Michael, that event, frankly, Trump doesn't do a lot of these things, taking questions from journalists. But Kamala Harris had a scheduling conflict here, and they are working on seeing whether or not she can do some Q&A with them in September. But big picture, OK, it's only been, 9 or 10 days. But does she need to get out there? Does she need to answer questions as well?
Absolutely. And she has a stellar record to the point that we just made about economics in the country and the black community. Black wealth is up 60% under the Biden-Harris administration. She has to communicate situations like that. Black business creation is up at a historic level. Black unemployment is historically low. She has to sell those things and not assume that black voters will come out and support her just because she's black. And I don't think she makes that assumption. As you look at today, she unfortunately had to travel to Texas for Congresswoman Jackson Lee's funeral, which is tomorrow. But I think she certainly should and will engage with the black journalists here and have a real conversation about why she should be our next president.
One of the arguments, Lonnie, that we're hearing from Republicans is that she's not got great policies, that she's been flip-flopping on policies. And this is what an article in The Hill said. Quote, this is her how the Republicans are poised to jump on her because she no longer supports a ban on fracking, a campaign official said, nor does she support expanding the Supreme Court. She no longer backs a single-payer health care system after previously endorsing a Medicare for All proposal, the campaign official confirmed, or a government-run gun buyback program. Harris also supports additional border funding, a break from her 2020 primary stance. Look, she's obviously not the first vice president who's run for president. There's always a little bit of trickiness, right? Separating herself from what were the policies of her boss's administration, and also sometimes separating yourself from previous years ago ideas that you might have had. But again, does she need to get ahead of this? Does she need to define herself and her policies before the other side does?
Yeah, no question. That is going to be the big challenge for her is can she define herself before the Trump campaign defines her. If the Trump campaign defines her, which they are working to do with a lot of ads in a lot of the swing states right now around, being too progressive, too liberal, too San Francisco, if you will, for the rest of the country. If they're able to place that frame around her, I do think that that will be damaging with swing and independent voters in some of these key states. So she's going to have to figure out how she walks away from some of these positions she's had on fracking, a position that could be very damaging in Pennsylvania, on public safety issues, on Medicare for All, which is something that I think could potentially be a problem for her. All of these issues, she's going to have to figure out how she defines herself differently. Because remember, Chris, most Americans, they don't know much about Kamala Harris. They don't know what she stands for. And so at this point, it is a race to definition. And if the Trump campaign can define her first, that will be a problem for her in the Democratic ticket.
So far, as you know, Michael, her appearances have been raucous, I think is a fair term. In fact, the New York Times wrote this after last night. The size of her rally dwarfed Mr. Biden's 2024 campaign events in both scale and enthusiasm, rivaling the types of crowds Mr. Trump regularly draws for his rallies in similar spaces. Every candidate has a stump speech. The stump speech is designed to get people riled up. But is that also an opportunity for her to maybe hit on some of the issues that are not typical, maybe, for this stump speech or any other, and say, look, this is who I am. This is what I stand for?
Absolutely. The key here is you have to hit on substance and style. She's got the style in terms of her ability to drive energy and bring out significantly massive crowd. That's important. You also have to include the substance in terms of outlining the things that she and the president have delivered. 15 million jobs, right? That's an important conversation to have. Inflation is now 3%. It was 9% 2 years ago. They've driven that down. She has to educate voters on who she is and what she has done. And I think that's what you'll see from her. She understands that she is in a position where she has a great opportunity to communicate all these victories that she's been part of with the president and outline what she can do for the American people after next year.